Hello, Goodwill Church. As you can see, we are still in the midst of making arrangements for announcements, and so you are stuck with Pastor Marcos and myself. Yep. And we want to jump right into our three main announcements. The first one is the blood drive, which is today in Montgomery, so we want to encourage you to participate in that. And so again, that's today, all during service. Please be a part of that. And then number two is
the fall kickoff, and that's just a couple of weeks away. It's just hard to believe, but next week, we start all of our programming, not this week, but next week, and that includes our Wednesday night programming, and that's a whole family event. So we have American Heritage Girls for the girls, Trail Life for the boys, youth group for sixth grade and up, right? Mm-hmm. Sixth grade through end of high school. Mm-hmm. All of that happens on Wednesday night at 6:30 in Montgomery, and there's an adult class that Tim and I are going to be teaching on the book of Revelation. Why don't you tell them a little bit about what that's going to be?
Well, it's going to be a deep dive into that. That's going to go along with the new sermon series that we're going to be in. That's going to look at some of the beginning of the book and then some of the end of the book. But Pastor Marcus and I are going to go through the entire thing in a class. It's going to do a deep dive, as we said. We're going to be looking at that and all of the different issues, all the different interpretations. And so we encourage you to come out and be a part of that. It's going to be a really interesting and fun study. It's going to take us up into next year. So we're going to be into it for a while. We're going to take a break during Advent. But we will be spending some real time in it. So I encourage you to be a part of that. It'll be a really fun time of learning.
Yeah, so the Revelation class starts September 14th at 6:30, same time as all of our other family programming. And really, the book of Revelation is a book of blessing. Mm-hmm. And we want to make sure that you know how to use this book for your own discipleship, your own growth in your relationship with Jesus Christ. So that starts on the 14th. So the fall kickoff includes all those Wednesday night programs, but there's other programs happening during the week as well. There's Grief Share, Celebrate Recovery, Bible studies happening in all our locations. On Friday, this Friday, you're going to receive a newsletter either in your email or as a text message that'll have all that information for you. A lot of programs that you're used to having at Goodwill, they're all coming back starting in the next couple of weeks, which means you got to fill this out and let us know what your information is, your name, your email address, and your phone number so that you can get those newsletters and be informed what's happening. An exciting new program that we're adding into the mix is something called Third Mill. And Tim, you're leading this, so walk us through what is Third Mill and why is it so good for our church?
Well, Third Mill is a ministry that's been around for decades, and it's a collaboration of a number of different seminary professors and authors and writers that have contributed a great deal of resources for study. Recently, Third Mill has put together what they call the Third Mill Institute. So that's putting together all of those resources into a streamlined selection of courses that you can actually get a certificate in. And it's basically seminary level courses without all of the writing and extensive reading. So it's listening to a lecture and it's gathering with your other students here with me to do formalized discussion groups. It's free. It gives you a little bit more of a deep dive into thinking theologically, and we really want to encourage that. If you've thought about seminary or you're thinking about this, is a wonderful way to introduce yourself to that and get a sense of what this looks like, and we're just hoping to grow us in that. So we're excited about this.
Well, we just ran this as a pilot program, and the response was wonderful. So we're excited to launch this out to the whole church and invite you to be a part of this. You can reach out to Tim directly. His email address is on the screen. Email him, and he'll let you know when the classes are going to be, what it takes to sign up, all of that.
Yep.
Third announcement, Tailgate Party in Montgomery on the 18th. And if we're lucky, that means that, is it Matt Kilduff with his massive chicken cooking machine?
That's the small version.
That was the small version?
That's the small version, yes.
That small version took up like half of a
big
parking lot.
Yes.
But okay.
It's a lot of chicken.
A lot of chicken, but come hang out to Tailgate Party to kick off the year on the 18th. Bring some food to share, bring some food for yourself, bring a chair. We're just gonna hang out. It was a blast last year. People from all the branches showed up for this. This is a whole church event. We want to invite Beacon and New Paltz and Port Jervis to join us for this in Montgomery on the 18th, about 1 o'clock. It's after the second service in Montgomery. So
it's just come hang out.
Yeah.
It's just a time to hang out together.
So that's the three announcements. But we're also talking about the first annual Goodwill annual Great Commission Fund. I don't know. Who named this thing? It's the first
annual... No one's
annual...
taking credit for that yet.
No, I'm going to get this right.
Yeah.
The Goodwill Church first annual Great Commission Fund. Nailed it.
You nailed it. It only took you 3 takes.
I know. That's okay. They'll forgive us.
It's a mouthful.
It is. But it's an important mouthful. And we want you to be involved in this. It starts next week, and there are 3 main ways to get involved. Why don't you walk them through what a couple of those are?
So the first one is just proclaiming what we're doing. This is about how we're understanding that all of our branches are really set up to be missionals. We're thinking about them as being local and in the community, about outreach of the community, about being evangelistic in the community. The whole focus is to rethink about how we're understanding the purpose of the branches. The second purpose is about prayer. And that's also always key. And so we want to be putting that in front of you to think about and to charge you to do, to be praying for our mission, praying for the work that we do, praying for the people that are currently there, praying for the people in the communities that we hope to bring into our church family.
Yeah.
And then lastly is that we want to fund that church. We have to have a means to do that work. So if you want to say a few words about that. So.
Well, I mean, when we think about the branches, I think a lot of people thought, oh, cool, we're going to plant these churches and they're going to help the bottom line. Mm-hmm. But that's just not the reality of the situation. We, as a church, are funding these different missions in these different cities and villages so that the gospel is proclaimed in people's communities, in their neighborhoods. That requires funding. And so starting next week, September 11th, all the way through basically Thanksgiving, we are asking people to give above and beyond their tithes and offerings. And there's going to be a card that you're going to be receiving next week that's going to have it broken down exactly how you can give. And if everybody pitches in here, we're going to be able to raise literally hundreds of thousands of dollars for the sake of the gospel to fund the branches, but really to fund the Great Commission. That's what this is about. It's about the lost being found. It's about people who don't know Jesus having a relationship with Jesus. We're seeing incredible things in Beacon. I know you're seeing great things in New Paltz. I know Jose's bringing stories from Port Jervis all the time about what God's doing there. That's the whole church, not just what's happening in that branch. You're involved in that, so we're asking you, get excited about the branches. Share what's going on with your fellow brothers and sisters here in the church. Fund it, and most of all, pray for us, the branch pastors, pray for the servants in those different locations, pray for the congregations, pray for the lost. That's what the Great Commission is all about. All right, I think we got it.
I think
That's it. Okay, now we can, keep doing what we're here to do, worship.